Okay, so I'm with Roxie of DFW University. This is the latest aesthetic school, cosmetology school, lash school in Dallas, correct? Did I get all the labels? Because I know you've
Yes.
expanded since originally opening with the intention just to be a lash school. And
Yes.
now you've expanded. So I actually want to talk a little bit more about you before we get into the school. I think what you're doing over there is so fantastic. You're someone I look up to in the sense of I feel like you're like such a survivor and such a powerhouse woman that I want to have people get to know you a little bit more and just tell your story for a minute.
Thank you so much, Jenelle. That means so much. Well, let's see. I am Roxie. I am a new mom. I have a 1-year-old. I am a wife. I started 4 years ago. Sorry. 4 years ago in the lash industry, but prior to the lash industry, I was in retail. And so I come from a background where I know how to build customer relationships, upsell, maximize clients, create a client experience. Um, and just with the background on what I went through in my retail experience, I quickly fell in love with the lash industry and just understanding that, wow, this industry is such a baby, it's a niche, and it's really addicting. Everybody loves it. So
So
I kind of,
addicting.
yeah, it's so addicting. So I kind of just combined it, like everything that I took from all my past experiences. I was actually a production manager at a clothing manufacturer in Arlington. So like being able to keep people in task, do a project, keep up with that project, make sure that we fulfill it, that everything is in order, that the inventory is right. And then also sewing, threading an industrial machine and threading a serger and doing buttonholes and all that really small, minute tasks that include you having to complete each step, and I feel like that's
Yeah,
really how lashes are. And so
sure.
with that background and like knowing, okay, I need to have the thread threaded properly is the same way as like, okay, I need to place the lash properly. There needs to be no lashes, in the bond, no baby lashes. It needs to be clean. I just took all of that knowledge from my past experiences and combine that with the lash industry, and it has worked out so well for me.
That's so great. It's interesting how I kind of did a similar thing, right? Where working the desk at a salon for many years, you start to build like these are like the building blocks to like your career. So it's nice that you got to incorporate all those past skills because it really is important, being able to project manage and to keep people motivated and having those experiences. And that's obviously led you to be very successful with the school. So when you I know opened about, is it last year? Has it been one full year?
It hasn't been a full year. We enrolled in September, but we passed our inspection in June. So I kind of like to say between August and June is like when we started, but we didn't start accepting students until August.
Yeah. So there's a lot of prep that goes into it, building
Oh
a
yeah.
school before people actually sit down and are, using the curriculum and practicing and doing lashes and stuff. So how long was the prep actually for? So I'll back it up. So the moment you decided you're like, all right, I'm doing lashes, clearly you're a phenomenal artist. You see the value you can bring into your community. So what was the moment where you were like, yes, I know that I want to start a school? Do you remember like what made you?
Yeah, I really do. I feel like it happened when I was in school.
Okay.
So like I'm going to school and like, my mind works very, very fast. I am dyslexic, so my mind works very fast. And I'm also a Cancer and an empath. So, like, I get people. And so when I was in school, I'm just like, wow, like, this is such a positive thing for our community. And not only is it so special that Texas offers just a specialty license for lashes, and then I also saw, sorry, there's a siren going off in the
That's the
city.
universe, girl. It's like, woo, woo.
Yeah. But I just saw like the demand for it. Not only were people reaching out to me while I was going through my whole process of starting my business, people were reaching out to me, asking me to train them. And even though I'm only in the industry for like a year, I'm like, wow, I feel like I haven't learned everything that I needed to learn. Do I really, take the time to try to train other people before me really knowing 100% the ins and out of the industry? So like while I was in school, I'm going to school and I'm in this school. It's not the best school. And so in my head, I'm like, man, this idea of having a school that offers the Lash program, it could be done a lot better, more efficiently. I feel like there were students that were getting left behind. I feel like there were students that it was a lot of favoritism. And then I feel like it was a lot of like if the girls already knew how to lash and then they were coming to school, like they were already like 10 steps ahead of somebody that was just starting out and they didn't know anything. And I feel like those type of students, the people that were starting with no experience, they were like, it was like a 50%. Either they fell off and I didn't see them anymore,
Yeah.
or, they pushed through it. And so I just saw the opportunity for a space that could give these girls like a winning chance in being in the lash industry.
Like a proper go at it. So I
Yeah,
love
like a
that you,
like a proper
like
like
a
a
real
proper
chance.
education. Yeah, like a
Yeah.
proper chance. Like, okay, I can talk to them about how I built my social media platform. I can talk to them how, I educated more to my clients than I sold to them and how that worked out for my business. I can share with them on how I built a whole new book after losing all my clients. But that was some of those things that I had to, wait and go through. So what I did was I went to school for my 320-hour license, and then my instructor, she was like, you should just come back for your instructor's license. I mean, you don't have no kids. You're really great at doing lashes. I see you starting to train people. You should just come back for your instructor's license. So I went right back into school for a 750-hour program to become a master educator. And with that license, with that education, I didn't learn everything that I needed to be able to open up the school, but with that license, that was the ability for me to be able to open up my own school. But then after doing the hours and going to school and completing my 750 hours, I still went out into the industry in my marketplace, and I strive to become like the best lash artist that I could be, so that I could share my experiences with my students when they came to the school. So the goal, I didn't know it was going to happen this fast. I did not know I was going to, boom, come into the industry, get my license, get my instructor's license, and then 3-4 years later, open up a school. I didn't know it was going to happen that fast. What really accelerated was I got pregnant. And once I found out I was pregnant, and I'm paying $1,300 a month for a salon suite, and I was just like, I can't do this. Like, I don't have nothing saved up. The baby is going to be here in 6 months. And I'm just like, this rent is really expensive, and I can't do lashes forever while I have a baby. So I was like, okay, let me get my ducks in a row to where I can actually get my license, because at that time I had just did the hours for my program. I didn't actually go test for my state board. So once I found out I was pregnant, I actually sat down with Tiana. I did a mentorship with her, because like my mind is just going now. I'm like, okay, I have to automate some type of part in my business, whether that, what I actually wanted to do was open like an incubator, like a lash salon that actually mentored and helped lash artists, struggling lash artists in Dallas to actually go on and go off and have a successful business, but really catering to all those students who I saw in school that were struggling, that didn't get the support that they needed from the school. That was my first idea. It was like, okay, I want to start a booth frame salon, and I can automate that. I can, go into the business a couple of times a month, talk to my booth renters, and I can do that from home. And I don't have to, I can lash part-time if I want to, and I can take care of my baby. T was like, okay, where are you gonna find,
Okay.
she's like, where are you gonna find 6 or 8 lash artists that can pay your booth rent consistently? Like, without a doubt, they're gonna be consistent and you don't have to chase them down. And we really sat down. I was like, okay, well, I can go get my instructor's license and open up my school. And once I sat down with her, she held me accountable. And I'm pregnant. And so Bronx also held me accountable. He's like kicking me. And I'm like, oh, I can't be
He's
behind
so
this lash
beautiful.
bed. Thank you so
He is
much.
beautiful.
He is so funny right now. Like, he is such a sweet and sour patch kid. Like, around 11 months, he wasn't really like in that cuddling stage. He didn't want to be held like a baby or anything like that. And now this week, I find myself like in the bed with him and he's cuddling with me and watching TV. And I'm like, yes, this is the moment I've been waiting on. Like, this is it. Just in the bed all day with my baby. So
that's cute.
Yeah. So that's what really, really kept me pushing. And, I had her to hold me accountable. And I wrote out all my goals and I was like, okay, 4 weeks from now, I'm going to go take my test, pass my test, and I'm going to go back 2 weeks later, take my practical, get my license, and then I'm going to save up, do as many lashes that I can do to save up as much money before the baby comes, so that I can have some type of cushion money to have a maternity leave and come back to have some money to start putting into opening up the school. And then it just so happened with the COVID, everything that happened with COVID, and thank God I, did my due diligence in my business in 2019, and I found my taxes and I showed my income, and, I did all that business stuff, and I was able to get rewarded from the SBA, all the loan from the disaster loan programs, and I was able to open up the school. So, I mean, it's a huge
You
blessing.
definitely fit the criteria for sure.
Exactly. Like, I didn't expect for it to happen this fast, and I'm just so, so blessed. And now I can, I see a whole new opportunity. Okay, now I'm getting students who are asking me, how can I start my own school? So now I'm getting those.
I love where this is going.
Yeah, it's like no longer about me helping lash artists. It's now I'm empowering women to go and open their own schools. And so it's becoming the biggest calling in my life, and I love it. And I'm so glad to be in this position and to be, the age that I am, a Black woman in this time. I just really feel like this is a great moment for me to make sure that I'm bringing people up as I'm also going up.
I love that. And that's kind of what I was speaking on when we first started the call, about how you're just like this powerhouse that's truly giving back. You did a post a couple weeks ago, and I was like, that right there, that is leveling up a community. It's like, yes, you can teach someone a skill, and you're just giving back so much more than I think maybe you realize, or maybe you do, but I have so much respect for that, what you're doing, and that, ripple effect of, people being successful, and then, having the people around you be successful. And then the more that grows, like the more strong your community gets. And I think that right there is power. And that's like so much more than just today. That's like years later, setting people up for success and empowering them to, dream big and think big. I was listening to you talk about yourself, and I'm like, wow, I love the way her mind works. It's like you don't seem to operate from a fear space. And I think
Oh
that
no.
and that I admire that and I respect that. And I think a lot of people that that can hold people back from achieving their dreams or even taking the chance to take the course. They get too afraid,
Yeah.
oh, maybe I won't be good enough, or maybe how am I going to get clients? And it's just you've managed to figure out this mindset and really make it work for you. And I think that is just really it's an admirable quality that I think not a lot of people really have. Because I think we live in this time where I was listening to Gary Vee. I listened to him kind of like on and off a lot. And he had this little mini episode and he said, we're living in this time right now where entrepreneurship is being shoved down people's throats. And he's like, this is like the biggest illusion that like we're telling people that's for everybody because it really is just not, like you could have been pregnant and then been like, nope, I'm not moving forward with anything. That could have simply been the end to not the end to your story, but this
Yeah.
particular avenue that you've chosen to really go full speed ahead. So I think that it really, like how you sat down with Tiana, I think it takes more than just, I want to do this and I have this passion, right? There's also this level of accountability, self-awareness,
Yeah.
and just making sure you're doing the right thing. Where I know quite a few people in the beauty industry that have these little salon suites and they're quote unquote entrepreneurs now and they have a business, but they're not doing all of that back end stuff like you were just speaking upon, that you did your due diligence and actually filed the proper way, kept records, really that spreadsheet, like the
Yeah.
business side of having a business, not like the front end of like the service and the posting and all that, like the muck of the business. Like I think if you let a lot of that slip, you can find yourself in some serious trouble, right? So, a lot of
Mhm.
girls will ask me like, how did you do? What did you do? And I'm just like, you have to have, if you don't know how to solve it, you need to hire people to do that because you can't just ignore it. And then you find yourself in a scenario where you're trying to file to get support or whatever it is. And then they're like, sorry, you didn't do any of this right. And then you're like, oh shit, this is a lot harder than I thought. So I kind of wanted to ask you, since people are seeing what you're doing and they want to emulate, what's some advice? I know there's obviously not one thing. I can't just say that. That's unfair because this is so many things, right? It's like, what's advice that you would give to somebody that is trying to open their own school? More like some real talk. Like maybe
Mhm.
let's talk about what was the biggest shock for you in your and like this learning phase, right? Because obviously you never opened a school before. There's going to be tons of moments where you're using them as learning opportunities. So what do you think was like the biggest shock, or what's something that you'd want someone to know, like, hey, before you decide to go down this path, just be aware of these things. This is what happened to me. Not saying this is going to happen to you, but just some general knowledge.
Yeah. A few things that I would let them know is that, okay, you can't do this by yourself. You have to have a team. Right now I have 5 independent contractors that help me with the school. I'm the only like employee. But
Mhm.
there is like a team of like 6 that helps run the school. And then you also have to know going into it, and this is something that I didn't like pay attention to, is that you're not going to be able to be like the instructor, school owner.
Yeah.
You're not going to be able to do both. So when you open up a school, unless you have somebody who's going to be the CEO, the operations of the business, then you'll be able to be just an instructor. But if your passion is really just training and teaching and being in the classroom, you are going to have to hire someone to do the operations and run the business part for your school.
Yeah.
And then another thing that I kind of went into is I'm like, oh, okay, this is gonna be cool. It's gonna be easy, but
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
and it's really like with opening up the school, there's so much paperwork, and then you have to like just read and also keep up with like how the state wants things. Like it's not
Right.
really about you and the industry, like how there is the industry, and then there is the state. You,
Mhm.
when you open up a cosmetology school, it's just about what the state requires. It's not really about, what you want to do for your students. That's like an add-on, that's a plus. But you're going to be required by the state to give certain minimums that you will, have to meet. So also going in the mindset of, okay, like if there is something extra that I want to give to my students, I have to still follow the curriculum that they're going to be tested off of to obtain their license.
Yeah. So structure. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think for artist types, that could be hard, right? Where, just spoke about entrepreneurship, where I feel like a lot of people are more solopreneurs. Like they're not wanting to work with other people and to delegate. And that's okay too, right? If that's the kind of business you want to have, go for that. But, what I'm hearing from you is that you recognize very early on that like this isn't the Roxie show. This is a
Yeah.
whole group coming together for the sake of the cause, right? And I think that can be challenging for some people to kind of let go, whether it's ego, whatever that is that prevents people from kind of letting go a little bit. But that's definitely something that people should realize. You're going to come up against that real fast, right? Especially if you're
Mhm.
successful, you're going to grow and all these opportunities are going to keep coming at you. So that's solid advice for sure, is just like having that conversation with yourself and being like, okay, how do we feel
And
about it? You know?
don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. Like when you first start out, you won't have the, capital or the funds to pay other people. So, you do have to do the groundwork. I hear a lot of business owners, they say, before I hired a social media person, I was doing the social media. I understand the process. I understand what I'm trying to convey. Before I hired an admissions person, I was in that role and it was me,
Yeah.
and I had to learn that role. And also you have to know like what you want, and you have to know the process before you can delegate it. So like when you're starting out, you can't be so quick to spend your profit and hire other people. You have to let that money build up so that you can sustain the business. And then you do have to know, okay, now I feel like, okay, my time is more valuable to be in this space. Maybe I should delegate these other tasks to someone else at a lower rate so that we can be more efficient.
That's well said, truly. Because it's like, I know just my own experience. I did a lot of the things for Lash Affair for the first couple of years. Like I did I like packed the actual orders, but there's so much value in that like middle process, right? Like you start and then everybody sees the end goal, right? Or like the meat in the middle, that's experience, right? And you can't pay for that. Like, how can you speak upon how you solved a problem if you've never had to do that before? So I want to encourage people to like not skate over that part too much, right? Where you have the team, but just being able to know in and out what someone's job is, that is so valuable. Because I mean, it's like if you don't, then how can you properly instruct them if you don't even know the steps and some of the challenges that they're going to come against? So, yeah, that even in of itself is like a fine balance of like, all right,
Yeah,
when do you delegate? When do you grow? Like you have to just be
exactly.
super tuned into your finances. And I love having stretch goals, but like small achievable steps, that's really good too, right? So it's like building slow, right? I can't even imagine of having a building this size when I first started Lash Affair, like how stressed I would be. Not that I'm not stressed now, it's never easy,
Yeah.
right? Just be honest, like I'm sure it's never easy for you. It gets easier, but I don't think it's ever easy for anybody. But I see so many people, they're like, oh, I want that. I'm like, start slow. Like there's no race at all of like, just because someone else is doing something, that doesn't mean you have to be immediately at that level. Like everybody starts at different times and has different goals and paths. So I think that that's a important thing for people to realize, is just because you're doing something a certain way doesn't mean like that's the exact path that they have to go. And at the speed too, not everybody has the same tools and resources and support, and all these little things matter. So yeah, that's good. Now I love another thing you said too, is you had Tiana to help you be accountable, where I think that that's such an important thing for people, is to have that support, whether it's a strong friend or it is somebody that you're working with, whether it be working out or whatever, like having that peer accountability is so important because, you know, sometimes people can let things slip and stuff. So I love that you have that. So that's important too.
Yeah, she had to get me together, you know, like I remember I was so frustrated with the school and I'm like, forget it, you know, forget all this extra stuff that I'm trying to do. I'm just gonna do a basic program, just basic like everybody else, and we're just gonna be basic. And she was just like, whoa,
Mm,
you really scared me when you said that. Like, I think that you need to go get re-inspired because you're sounding like everybody else, and that's not really why you start the business. So yeah, she is definitely my accountability partner.
that's wonderful. And I love her. But you know what too though? And I think that this is what we all have in common as people, regardless of where you come from. It's like, I said this last night, I say this often because when I heard it, I was like, wow, that it like stuck with me because it's such a powerful statement where it's like you can't see the label if you're in the jar. You know what I'm saying? So
Mhm.
sometimes it's like something that would be so easy for anybody around to be like, oh, hey, like you don't notice that. It's if you're in the thick of it, it can be really hard. So it is important to have that outside perspective to like help guide us because sometimes we can just be in the jar and we're unable to sort of navigate properly. So there's definitely something to be said about that. But that's a lot of self-awareness too. So now, so with the school, let's talk about the school. Like, let's talk about what you guys do there, what you can offer students. What are some of the options and some of the programs and some of the licensing that
Yeah. So
you're doing?
we have a online program for anyone who is in Texas. So what I wanted to do was like, okay, when COVID hit, the state started allowing schools to continue education 100% virtually. So what I wanted to do is like, okay, I kind of went back and I was like, man, I wish there was something like that I could have done. Because when I started lashing, I actually was like, had clients and was busy making money. So now I was like, okay, all this program is for all the girls out there, or for people out there who are lashing, they're certified, and they don't have a license, but they're making money right now. They can enroll in our online program. It's 10 weeks. They can use their paying clients and use that moment to still upload their portfolio work and all of their pictures into the Google Classroom so that they can still get credit, and we can give them the hours to obtain their license. So we have the online program offered for anyone who works in Texas, who lives in any outside surrounding states, but can cross over to state Texas lines and wants to have a business in Texas, but let's say they live in Oklahoma. So we offer the program to anybody that's in that situation. And then we also have the eyelash extension specialty license hybrid option. So for anybody who's actually in the Carrollton area or DFW area, they can come to school 2 days out the week. The other 2 days they're online, and they can get more hands-on to obtain their license. So if there's somebody with no experience, stay-at-home mom, somebody that wants to change career paths, they would enroll in the hybrid program, and they would see our instructors 2 days out of the week. And then they would also have their online program. And then excuse me, along with the eyelash extension specialty license, we offer the instructors program. So we have the nail instructor, cosmetology instructor, the eyelash instructor, and then we have the esthetician instructor programs. And the biggest question that I get with when it comes to our instructors program is a lot of people think that that it has to do with you, like you doing hair, you doing nails or skin. And I have to tell applicants all the time, our instructors program has nothing to do with you doing the actual
Like
service.
the actual service.
Yeah, like you already went to school to do hair, you got your license, we trust you. The educators program is more about you becoming a leader and facilitating the room and knowing how to interact with your students, and knowing how to carry yourself as that educator so that they respect you. And then you also learn how the classroom should run, how colors affect your students, how the school atmosphere should run, how the services for the school should run, lesson planning, mind tapping, and all that type of stuff that goes along with being an educator. So we have a lot of people that ask like maybe they're cosmetology licensed, but they do lashes, they don't do hair. And they're like, well, I want to enroll and be a be an eyelash instructor. Can I do that? And I have to tell them, no, your main license has to match your instructor license. So if you're a cosmetologist and you're wanting to do the instructor program, you would enroll as a cosmetology instructor, but your license already covers you to do lashes. So you can teach lash theory, you can teach esthetician theory, you can teach nail theory, because you have the main license that covers all of that under the umbrella. Whereas my license is just as eyelash instructor. So I can teach all theories because I know how to teach the lesson plans. I can teach cosmetology theory, I can teach esthetician theory, I can teach nail theory. But when it comes to a hand-on demo, that's where I would step out, and I would need to have a cosmetology to teach a haircut lesson because I don't have that license. So we offer that program. So anyone who is a nail artist, maybe they're a cosmetologist, esthetician, and they want to get their master educators program, we offer that online, 100% online, and in hybrid. So what's great about the online program is that you still have to meet with your students. You have to meet with your students every week. You have to grade their assignments. You have to be familiar with their program and what they're doing. And you're like accountable for these students. You have to check in with them. You have to give them feedback on their submissions that they upload, on their work. How's the coverage look? Is the fullness there, is the shape there? And the same thing goes for our hybrid program, but they're just actually giving that feedback while the student is there for those 2 days when they come to school.
Wow, that's awesome that you are providing all these options for people. When you first originally said hybrid, I thought hybrid lashes, like a classic and
Yes,
volume. I was like, oh,
everybody says that.
but you know what though? I think I mean, I think a lot, like to your point, I don't think when people think about that course, I don't think they're thinking that that is what is being covered and being taught. But I think that that's probably weeding out all the fly-by-nights that just are maybe getting into this just to make an extra buck, where once
Yeah.
they feel the curriculum, they're like, oh, like it actually is teaching you to be a real educator, like
Yes.
teaching them how to teach. And I would imagine if you're not passionate about that, that's probably going to deter people. I'm like, maybe, and they're probably going to go.
Yes.
Hopefully, they don't go underground. But again, I love what you're doing. It's like legitimizing and making people accountable. It's like, okay, if you're going to teach courses, like, do you know
Yeah.
how to be a teacher? And that's really
And
important.
there's so many trainers right now, and the one thing that I did, and that I encourage my students and all my instructors, they already know, but any of my instructors that come out of my school, when they certify someone, like let's say there's a girl that wants to do a certification with them and they don't have a license, because they're an instructor from my school, their certification class, I'll credit that student 20 hours for that certification to go towards their 320-hour license. So it gives them more credibility. And then not only that, there's all these other schools that offer the cosmetology license, esthetician license, but they don't have the lash program because they don't make any money from it and because they don't have any instructors. So there's a huge need for instructors who know lashes and who are also going to show up with a lesson plan, a student evaluation, an activity, and actually be able to hold the class. So it's really awesome. We get a lot of students who are asking, well, if I become an instructor, can I certify other people? And I'm like, it's bigger than that. It's more than just a certification. This is something that you can do. 50-year-old you will be able to go and walk into any school and be able to have a job. So yeah, it's really awesome.
It is so awesome. It's the long game approach, right? I always say like short money is cool, but like what about later? you know, like truly
Mhm.
setting yourself up for success, not just today, but for tomorrow. And, you know, people get deterred from that because, again, it's like that middle part that we talked about. It's like nobody wants to like do that work. So I think that if you're considering getting into this career, doing it right the first time and doing it the right way, you'll thank yourself later. So, you know, put that work in and it really pays off in the future for sure.
Yeah.
So, so how many students do you guys take at a time? Because I know you have it's a school, so you can't just do like 4 people in a classroom. So what can people
Yeah.
expect? Is it minimum, maximum school size or classroom?
Yes. So our facility can only handle like 12 students in it at one time to be able to safely, social distance everyone. But right now I have 25 students, but 80% of my students are online. 100% online. We have 8 students who come into the school for hybrid, whether that is the eyelash program or the instructors program. So but at a minimum, our classroom size, we like to keep our classroom size for like 2 to 4 people because since we have open enrollment, since we enroll for our hybrid program once a month. So there are several phases going on at one time. So you'll have phase one, that's 3 students in the back. You have phase two, they're in the front working on each other or doing models. And then you have phase three, they're doing clients, paying clients that are coming to the school to get their lashes done. And then we're doing their practical boards to make sure that they're prepared and then they're done. So we always have 3 phases going on at the school. So we like to keep our class sizes between 2 to 4 students.
Nice. This intimate setting.
Yeah.
So what was I just gonna ask it? I was like, couldn't wait to say it now that I'm ready. I'm like, oh. So tell me about, I know that I know that this, and I think because I was really impressed because I know how hard it is to like, do all that paperwork and be diligent on that end. So obviously this is a school. This isn't just a weekend course. Obviously it's more expensive. Now I know that you have done such a wonderful job in helping facilitate students get some sort of financial aid. So is that something that is still being offered at the school?
Right now, we are just doing payment plans for our students, but I do want to continue to offer scholarships for our students. So we have had industry leaders, you have donated kits and wonderful things for our students. We've had lash brands who've donated tuition costs for students. So when that is available, whenever we do get donations for our scholarship fund, we do disperse that out to our students. We had a lash brand give $1,000 for tuition, and we gifted that to our first round of students who enrolled in the program. They didn't know anything about it.
Oh,
Their last payment was due, and I sent them an email and said, hey, your payment's taken care of. You guys are done for the program. And so I like doing things like that. We don't offer financial aid just yet because our program, the eyelash program, is not eligible for financial aid because it's not 600 hours. The state will only offer financial aid for programs 600 hours or more. So that's why the esthetician and the cosmetology programs, you can get financial aid for those programs, but not for the eyelash specialty license. Anywhere you go, you'll have to pay out of pocket.
yeah, but you offer payment plans and all these other
Oh,
added
yeah.
services as part
Yes.
of the school. Yeah, I'll definitely will donate. I know we donated product and stuff like that, but we're happy to help out with some of the just like a cash tuition cost. Anything
Yeah, and I
what you
do
guys
want to talk
can
to you, Janelle. I do want to talk to you about some more opportunities that we have within the school. So we need to hop on a call and talk about that. But yeah, we're open. Anybody out there? We've had small brands reach out, big brands reach out. I mean, I'm grateful for whatever. And our
sure.
students, the lash bed covers that you sent, that made them so happy. Like, and I
It's
waited to the end of the program to give them their little goodie bags and stuff like that. I had some little volume trays. T had some volume trays, y'all's little tester volume trays with the four.
sure sample.
Yeah, the sample ones. I put that in there, and they loved it. They loved it.
Yeah. I saw the photo you posted, and it's, you know, when you're young or whatever age you are and you're just entering something new, small gestures like that can really boost people's spirits and get them excited to take their first client. So there'll be plenty more of that. We have so many new products launching within the next couple of months. So as soon as they hit into the warehouse here, be expecting definitely some products, a big box. I'm going to ship you and Tiana over as some stuff that you can share and use for yourselves and show to the students. So
Thank
happy to do
you.
that when we can, for sure.
Thank
So
you so much.
yeah, my pleasure. So what is one thing that um, you feel like the most proud of? And again, I hate to do like the one thing because I'm sure that there's so many things, but what do you feel is something that you was maybe like particularly challenging for you? Maybe something that you weren't expecting that you were able to overcome and now you're on the other side of it. Is there anything in particular you can think of?
Really just making sure that I prepare, like what I'm teaching my students is correlating and showing up in their passing rates. So like I was on the edge of my seat, you know, dropping that first round of students and like waiting for them to send me their passing rates, because that lets me know, okay, whatever I'm teaching in the curriculum, it is helping them, you know, it is the right information for them to pass and obtain their license. Because it's not like the state gives me the test that they have to take and I can like correlate my lesson plans on that. I just get an outline of what's going to be on the test, and then I still have to guess and dodge and make sure that my
And
references
deliver, right?
and
Because you can
deliver.
have info. If your delivery is shitty, that's probably
Exactly.
not going to help them retain the information. So
Exactly. So I
yeah,
was like on the edge of my seat, like just waiting for a text message like, hey, I passed my written exam. Hey, I passed my practical, you know, because then that lets me know, okay, what I'm doing is right. You know, it's making sense. They get it. They get the information and they're obtaining their license, because it means nothing if we are not at 100% passing grade.
sure. So again, you're holding yourself accountable and you're gauging your success off their success. That's a true educator. Like
Yeah.
you're just coming and leading from such a pure place that I don't know, man. It's just, I love what you're doing down there. So that's great. And I think a lot of times, um, you know, you just see these courses and they're getting people in and out, and it's just, there's not a lot of follow up or, you know, care there. I hate to say that, but I think that there is a lot of that. So I just hope that you just keep running with that and that you're able to affect so many more people these next couple of years and, you know, forever for that matter. Because I mean,
Thank
when you're out of
you.
school, I foresee an expansion. I can see you're going to be doing so many big things in the future.
Man, and I mean I really can't wait. And that is always been my view. Okay, the success from others, the more I can help everybody else succeed, the more I will succeed. So it's always been community over competition. And what I want people to realize is when you enroll into DFW Lash University, you're basically getting access to a community of lash artists who support each
Yes.
other. I make my students comment on each other's pages. They follow each other. Any of my students that have products, brands, or they selling t-shirts, I put that all in the course resources. You know, and making sure that they have their business set up properly. We talk about business structure, goal setting, and projections on like, okay, how much money does it actually take to run a lash business? How many clients do I actually need minimum to make money? So, and it's really just about making sure that they leave, you know, with a good foundation to start that business, whether it be from their house or they take a leap of faith and do a salon suite, just making sure that they, okay, have their ducks in a row before they leave.
I love that. I love the community aspect because it is so important. I mean, we've all learned that this past year where like you take that community away and you feel isolated, and that's not a good space to be in. Like we're like, I hate to say it, we're like pack animals. Like people thrive
Right.
in community, right? So I think whereas the industry is so new, and at least when I started, you know, back in 2008, which seems like a lifetime ago, you know, nobody was giving information. There wasn't chat groups. So like I took this course. Thankfully, I made really good friends with the girl. We still chat now, but it's like if I didn't have that person to like bounce ideas off of or practice on each other and get that feedback, that honest, like, girl, you fucking glued my eyes together and they hurt.
Yeah.
I needed to hear that in the beginning. You know what I mean? So I think that what you're doing there is like, that's like the special sauce, right? Where it's like
Yeah.
instilling that in their mind that this is not your competition. Like really, you can't lash everybody in the world, let alone
Right.
or even your neighborhood. It's like I think we have that scarcity mindset sometimes, just because sometimes people are just really naturally competitive and that just lives in them. I am not. I don't believe in that. I just don't feel like I don't I'm just not affected by someone else's goals. It's just like I don't understand like why people get so caught up in like other people's success, because it's like really at the end of the day, like how does that really affect you besides mentally
Right.
and you wasting your time? So it's like if we can get out of that like unhealthy competitive mindset and start looking at people as community and friends and just people rather than enemies, right? Because it's like, what does that say about our industry if like you're the only good school or like you're the only good lash artist? Like what,
Right.
everyone else is garbage? Like that's true,
Exactly.
right? We should all want to elevate, and that's really what you're doing there, and you're like setting these healthy standards. And I think that again is just so important for people to like, okay, cool, we all want to be competitive and have drive, but at the end of the day, like don't try to knock someone down or like dim their light to make yours seem brighter. Like that just
Right.
doesn't need to be like that. So again, love that you're doing that.
Thanks,
So
girl.
awesome. So how long is your program? Because I know you have
It,
different lengths, so I know they vary, but is it typically 10 weeks or more,
yeah.
or do you have
It's
shorter
typically
options?
it's typically 10 weeks. For if they are full time, they're gonna get done 10 to 12 weeks. If they're part time, which we really don't even advertise part time because they should be able to get it done in 10 to 12 weeks. For our instructors program, we have a 500-hour program and 750. So that correlates. If they do a chapter a week, they can get done in 4 months. Or if they do part-time for our instructors program, they're going to get it done around 6 months.
I mean, if you think about that length of time, it's really like a blink of an eye. Because I mean, if you think about it, most colleges or any career that you would go to a typical 2 to 4 year college, it's just that it's 2 to 4 years, this ungodly amount of debt. So I think that this opportunity and career path is like a friggin' gift, right? For especially for creatives, it's like who wants to sit in an office and do that? So the fact that we have these options and you can make a really good living and not have this debt and be set up in a relatively short period of time, like
Right.
I mean, you could be listening to this and be stuck in an office job or something that maybe you went to college for something and you realize that that wasn't for you, but you're on the fence about maybe changing your career. Like if you can really kind of compartmentalize, like that really is such a short period of time. Like it's never too late to change it up, switch it up. You got one life. Like I
Yeah.
think that these opportunities to be able to learn online now, it's just really it's I don't want to say easy, but it's like easier than ever to really sort of take that leap and maybe do something better for yourself that's going to be a little bit more fulfilling. Because you know I was a licensed esthetician. That was my route. I that job was definitely hard, and being an empath, you're taking on energy of other people, but God, it was so fulfilling. It's just
Yeah.
you're in the service industry and you love doing it. It's like every day I'm like, how am I getting paid to do this? Like I'm getting to hang out with people I genuinely love talking to, learning about their families and their jobs and just them as people. But I'm also like crafting, like essentially like on you, and then you're paying me. It was like, what?
I know.
So I love our industry, and I love that you're, you know, really elevating it in such a legitimate way. It's just so awesome to see. And I hope more people follow in your footsteps.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anybody that is interested, I'm here. You can DM me or email me. I answer questions. I'm friendly. So feel free to reach out.
Nice. So what do you, I know, again, I feel like this is such a loaded question, but like, do you have any, because, last year everyone's like, oh, what's your 5-year goal? We're like, what? I'm just trying to
Yeah.
get through next week. But
Right.
do you have any like sort of stretch goals in the future for the school? Like
Yeah.
what's like your next thing that you're sort of striving for?
Man, my next thing is I definitely want to expand, and I want to put another location in Austin,
Ooh,
and I really want to put another location in El Paso, and I really want to be able 5 years from now to be able to sell basically put everything that I do for the school, the operations, the admin, create SOPs for everything and put it in a box and basically sell that to other people who want to open up a school. And then I want to franchise to my own student instructors for DFW Lash University schools all over Texas.
well, okay. I was like, I should have known that was going to be a lofty goal. You're like, but you know me. You know that wasn't going to be
Yeah.
little. So for anybody that doesn't know what SOP means, that means standard operating procedures, which I think that is like that infrastructure that a lot of people miss out on, and they end up
Yeah.
floundering or try to figure it out. So what a gift that is to really get like a roadmap from somebody that's been down the road. That's amazing.
Mhm.
I love
Yeah.
that.
So
I,
that's what I'm working on right now is I hired a business operations person, and we meet every 2 weeks, and she basically holds us accountable on getting all that stuff, like how to enroll a student, how to drop a student, our scripts, our admin process, the Google Classroom process, and getting all the SOPs for all of that. So that's going to be like a 3 to 4 month project for me on the back end, working with my staff to get all that together.
it's a lot of work. So it's all I've heard from you this past 45 minutes is that this is a lot of work and a huge undertaking. And for sure, if you're somebody that would be considering, you know, a business on any level, I think having that conversation is like, are you prepared for that? Because it never
Yeah.
gets easy, right? It's like
No.
the more successful that you are and the more money that you make or the more students that you have, it goes in like the opposite direction. Like people
Yeah.
sometimes think, oh my God, and then start to see the green and you're like, oh, but what they're not seeing is all the back end stuff that truly can be quite a sacrifice. I mean, as a new mom, I'm sure you have a baby. I can't even imagine starting Lash Affair and having a little tiny baby, like how intensely challenging that must be on so many levels. I can't even speak to it. I don't have
Man, shout out to
right.
my family. Shout out to my family
Yeah.
and my support system. Like, I literally have a village. I mean, I can send the baby if I really need to. I remember when putting the school together, I just called my mom, like, Mom, please come get Bronx. I just need 2 days with my computer, or I'll just go out there. I would take him out there and bring my laptop, and she would take care of him. My dad would take care of them, and I would just sit outside, and I'm just like working on the school for like 4 to 6 hours straight, and then I'll go check on him, and really being able to have that time. And even my husband Tim, he's with the baby now, making sure he's accountable. That's your child too, sir. Like,
Mhm.
I gotta go.
Right.
Mommy has to work, mommy has to go, and really holding him accountable. But we do have a village. I can drop the baby off to his grandparents, my mom, his cousins or aunts. He has uncles. So I just utilize the people that I have in my village, and thank God for them, because that's how I'm able to get things done.
Yeah. Shit ain't easy, girl. I love that.
No.
Well, I love that you are just not willing to take no for an answer. It sounds like you're just
Oh
getting it
yeah,
done and
that's
figuring it
me.
out. And sometimes that's really like that's what the attitude you need sometimes. And for sure, like it ain't easy every day. Like I'm sure you don't like doing this every single day. And that's okay too. And I had to learn that. I feel like it was like last year sometime or whenever I came home and I was like talking to Paul, I was like, I fucking hate this. I had
Yeah.
like a terrible day where just I can't remember what happened. He's like, it's okay. It's like you're not gonna love it every day. And the
Right.
fact that he just said that, it like made me okay. I was like, all right, I'm like, okay, you just
Yeah.
need to hear that sometimes. So, don't never get discouraged if it's like not perfect all the time. It's like that roller coaster of emotions. And I think, again, being aware of that is helpful too, just to know that like you're not shooting for perfection and happiness every day, but that's the stuff you look back on and you feel super proud that you're like, I made it through all those shitty days, not just the good ones. Like that gives you that motivation to tackle more challenging things for sure. At least it does for me.
Yes, I agree.
I feel like this has been I like enjoyed talking to you. I love getting to know your story, and it's definitely hasn't been easy. So anything else you want to like just share that maybe people don't know about you, or an obstacle that you faced, or a little tidbit of knowledge, or just anything?
I want I want to start like collaborating with more brands on me as a professional lash artist. I'm not lashing clients anymore. And what I'm wanting to do is create. So like create cool looks. I'm into like lashing gay boys right now. They're like giving
Girl,
a
that
vibe.
photo you posted the other day was hot
Yeah.
fire.
I just
What?
met him too. I had just met him that Friday, the Friday before we had met up. I met him and I was like, his look, I didn't even see his whole face. His face was covered because he was
Didn't
wearing a
even
mask.
need to. Yeah.
And all I could see was his eyes. I got his Instagram, got his phone number. I paid him $100 to be my lash model. And he let me do whatever look that I wanted to do. And of course, he didn't want them curly lashes, but I had to give them to him. Like his eye shape was amazing. So I'm really wanting to do like more creative things, like print photo shoots, even working like on a movie set or like television doing lashes, any type of collaboration. I'm open for anything. I feel like I need to start popping up in these cities and
Well,
spreading the Roxie love.
I just heard you're coming to Scottsdale is what I just heard for a collaboration.
Yes.
That just what happened in my brain. So I love the sound of that. I know we're going to be working more with Tiana this year. I love photo shoots and creative projects. So I personally would be open to that and honored to have you both here in the building and creating some magic. We have so much space, and I mean, it's really, this place is so much fun every day. So I'd love to have
Yeah.
you here.
I can't wait to come and see.
Let's make it happen. Try to come before the summer because it gets really hot.
Oh yeah. Yes.
What I know I feel like Shelby asked people this question, but I think it's a good one because it's like very telling. Do you have a motto that you live by? Like
Mm,
just like a favorite quote, or just
a model. Man, treat people how you want to be treated. I know that one's like the basic one, but that's really like how I live my life. It's like, would I want to be treated like that? No, I wouldn't. So that's really like how I live my life, how I view things, how I handle my friendships. Communication is the biggest one. Being able to have those grown-up conversations and go there so there's not that weird, awkward energy in the room. So
right.
so yeah, and also get take time out take time to get to know yourself, because you can't expect anyone to treat you a certain type of way if you're not treating yourself and your time and your body how it's supposed to be treated.
I love that. And you're saying that's like a basic thing, but I think that we could all get back to basics, right? It's like, let's
Mm-hmm.
reel it back in. We're all people here. Let's treat each other with respect. So I'm about that. Just simple answers, right? It doesn't even need to be complicated sometimes. It's just like, how nice would that be if everyone was just a little bit nicer?
Yeah.
Right. It's simple but effective. So, well, tell everybody where we can find you. I'm going to put up your Instagram handles and we'll put it in the show notes and stuff, but website, Instagram, all that.
Yes, you guys can follow me at Roxie Lashes. And then you guys can follow and keep up with the school at DFW Lash University. And if you have any questions or concerns or want to sign up for our program, please visit our website, dfwlashuniversity.com, and you can submit an application or just simply fill out a contact form, and our admissions director will reach out to you within the next 24 to 48 hours to get the process rolling.
Well, thank you so much for your time. I know you're so busy. I really appreciate you just being here and chatting with me, and hopefully being able to expose your program to as many people as possible. So thank you so much, truly, like, for what you're doing for our industry. You just make me proud to know you, and I just love what you're doing. So continue just being a badass and doing you.
Thank you so much,
Yeah.
Jenelle. All the
And
love and support has been
let's set a
amazing.
collab up. I'm like super into that. So we'll
Yeah,
chat about that. I'll send you an email. Maybe we can think about a time where we can just pencil it in and make it happen.
I'm about all of that.
Awesome. Thank you. And I will chat with you soon.
Thank you. Have a great day.
You too. Bye.
Bye.